Brandon Doman is our next guest. Only two players in BYU history have won their first 14 starts, Robbie Bosco and Brandon Doman, who now joins the program. Brandon, 14 straight wins is a pretty good way to start your career, was it not?
Well, I think if I can be in the same sentence as Robbie Bosco, that's pretty good. I feel pretty good about that.
That is a pretty good one. We've had this best wins bracket going on, 2000 Utah, 2001 Utah wins were discussed. What are some of your favorite memories from those two very important games in BYU history?
Well, beating Utah, number one, is probably my favorite memory. Number two, I would say my favorite football game I ever played in was LaVell's last game. Having the opportunity to be the starting quarterback for that game and to be able to carry him off the field and win in such a dramatic comeback fashion by far was my greatest memory. And then I don't know that I've ever been in BYU Stadium when quite like the moment when Luke Staley caught the pitch and ran down the sideline to win that game. I think it kept us at 12-0 or 13-0 or something like that, and that was pretty remarkable time as well.
I was watching that last blast against the Utes over the weekend, and I was surprised. I didn't realize it at the time how often you called Kalani Sitake's number, whether you were dropping him a pass or running the football. I think that was his finest hour. Yeah.
No, he was tough. He was so tough. He was a great ball catcher. He would come out of the backfield as a blocker often, and so he was a perfect check down and just a real steady player for sure.
Guide me through your mindset going into the New Mexico game where the stadium is named after LaVell and you're 4-6 and you don't want LaVell to lose his last home game or the next week against Utah. And now here is your first start. Like the pressure of that moment, were you loose? And if so, how?
I had prepared my whole life for that moment. I was the youngest of four boys in my family, and I had gone to BYU football games from the time I was 8 years old, and I had dreamed about that. I felt like I was prepared for it. The coaches had done a good job of, giving me opportunities to practice, and I was almost through my junior season, so I had been around the block, and I was plenty prepared. So I don't know that I was nervous. I was so anxious, so excited to play that it just went past me. The fact that it was LaVell's last game and all the nostalgia that went into that game, I just didn't worry about that. I was just so excited about the fact that I got to play that night. And I think the nerves were caught up in just enthusiasm and excitement to play.
Brandon, but when Gordon B. Hinckley is entering the locker room pregame, that's a different kind of game, right? What were the emotions like, and how did you sort of, I don't know that you were naive, but how did you stay in that space to where it's like, well, this is just a game, I got to go out and win? Because it wasn't just a game, it was a huge game.
Yeah. I joke all the time that I thought the prophet had showed up to wish me well for my first start.
Hopefully he shows up for Keaton Slovis in the same way.
Yeah, lo and behold, he was there for Coach Edwards. I couldn't figure it out. But, the story is that he looked at the team and congratulated LaVell on a great story career. And then he looked at us and says, guys, we've got to send LaVell out with a victory tonight. And then he pointed out and said, so, don't muff it. And in my closet at my house, I have this little picture of the prophet, Gordon B. Hinckley, and the phrase that says, don't muff it. And ever since that day, it's ironically, I think uniquely in my life has been kind of a little motto that I look at every morning when I get up and head out for the day. Don't muff it. And I'm grateful for that.
Those are words to live by for sure. So here we are, wrapping up the month of June with July, and the team reports next month, the end of next month. How important is this time for a quarterback?
Well, he has so many opportunities to get with his players. He still hasn't quite figured out the system. He still doesn't quite have the camaraderie with the receivers. When I was going into my first season as a starter, I hadn't played any football games. Now, that's different for him. He's played a bunch of football games. I only played 2. And there was a lot of uncertainty with who's going to play particular positions at receiver. We were still short on a couple personnel scenarios that hadn't quite ironed themselves out. And they can go out every single day and work on routes, look at scheme. He can get on the whiteboard with his coaches and with his teammates. He can get in the film room. I think that there's 5-6 week period of time here where prior to fall camp, he can make up so much ground in preparation to hit the ground running for fall camp and understanding the scheme and what the coaches want. Spring ball was no way near enough time for him to wrap his head around, what the coaches were wanting to accomplish as as an offense. But for a guy that's as veteran as he is, between spring ball and then summer months right now, he should have plenty of time to figure that out.
Certainly different in the entrance into the one and done year. You had the end of your junior year, then you had your senior year. But if Keaton Slovis has a nice year, he could be the third straight starting quarterback at BYU drafted. Do you feel like QBU is back at BYU, given that they put 2 in the league? Obviously, number 2 pick and then a 5th rounder in Jaren Hall.
Yeah, it depends on how well he plays. He needs to win. Zach Wilson won games. Jaren Hall won games. Slovis needs to go in there and win games, despite his ability to throw the football and execute the offense. At the end of the day, BYU needs to go have a couple signature victories for him to have a draft pick opportunity. We won football games when I was playing, and I think QBU is partially good quarterbacks that play in a great scheme, but we've also proven to win, and the guys that win usually get drafted. So hopefully for his sake, they can get some wins, 10 games. That'd be a massive accomplishment in year one. So it's tough sledding for that guy right now.
You mentioned his experience coming in. He has 34 P5 starts. How valuable will that be, and how will Cougar fans notice his experience the most? How will that show itself?
Yeah, he won't be too worked up about these big football games. He's played against these types of opponents. I think he'll be great in the locker room. He should have a ton of poise. Just his comfort level of being a starter, I think will have a resonating impact on the locker room. The players in that locker room, there's a lot of guys that haven't played in consecutive back-to-back big games like this in a conference like this. And I think he'll provide some calming assurance to everybody, and specifically for him, because he's going to have to play well. And as goes the quarterback, so goes the team, especially at BYU. He's going to have to really play well in order for these guys to have a consistent chance at winning. They just don't have enough horses to hand the ball off and to muscle through these football games. He's going to have to play very consistent, efficient football as a quarterback to keep these guys in the football games.
In this position, and you can shed some serious light on it for us, how important is it for a quarterback there's a confident quarterback, and there's a quarterback who can appear to look confident when he's really not quite sure? How valuable of a skill is that? Of guys were going out there when in his mind he's like, I'm not sure what's about to happen.
The team can see right through it. It's a matter of just being the field general and having to communicate on the sideline, out on the field, during practices. And if the quarterback's not confident, I think Vince Lombardi I know Vince Lombardi said that leadership rests upon truth in your purpose and willpower in your character. And they can see right through your truthfulness and your purpose and your willpower. And confidence displays itself really fast, and they'll only follow you so long without you displaying a ton of confidence in who you are and in them as teammates and in your ability to execute the offense. So hopefully, like I said, he's taken full advantage of every minute he's got during the summer here to prepare to be ready to play. Aaron Rodgers is doing that out in New York with the Jets. I mean, hats off to him for getting out there and spending as much time as he can, because he recognizes that right now is his chance to go win. And I think Slovis is going to have to do the same thing.
Brandon Doman joins us on BYU Sports Nation. Was the Dominator a nickname that you had growing up, or was that something that BYU gave you?
Yeah, my teammates gave it to me at BYU. There's a number of, like, 2 or 3 guys that think that they came up with the nickname. So I'm not going to pinpoint one of them, but one of my offensive linemen felt like he came up with the nickname. And
Which one?
Dustin Staley, Luke Staley's, Aaron McCovens, and then Dustin Staley, Luke's older brother. They all claim that they came up with the nickname, but it's stuck forever. I mean, I'm 46 years old and it's stuck.
You know, the 14 wins in a row had a lot to do with the sticking.
Yeah. And the picture was cool, too, of the Gladiator, which I think came out around that time. Were you on board for all that, or were you like, whatever you guys say?
Look, I think it gave me like one vote in the Heisman voting. I think I was the 9th vote getter, so I don't know that it served any purpose more than just giving me a nickname. But I was so grateful. Yeah, the marketing team there at BYU, some of those guys are still there. I remember working with Duff Tittle and some of those guys to come on the campaign, and I just so grateful for all those guys. There's so many people behind the scenes in an athletic department that do way more than anybody realizes, and those guys went to bat for me with the media. And I think halfway through the season, between all the work they had done and BYU fans, I was, getting a lot of notoriety through ESPN. And Heisman Trophy was running a voting campaign, and I was the #1 vote getter and throughout the season. So it was fun. I'm sure it helped me, in getting drafted and all the other things that happened after the season. It was, a lot of that went and, helped me in a lot of ways.
Hey, for the next minute, you are the commissioner of the Big 12. June 30th is coming up. Are you going to invite San Diego State into the league?
I would do everything they can to get Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State, make it a 16-team league. I don't know that San Diego State fits the bill for what the Big 12 truly can accomplish if they'll hang tight for a minute. I think the Pac-12 is in a unique situation, and I think Utah and Colorado, and like I said, Arizona and Arizona State are going to be in a better position if they'll group together and unify together and make that transition at the right time into the Big 12. Between the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC, that will make 3 really solid conferences at that point. Oregon and Washington and them, I think they're going to jump ship as well and probably end up in the Big 10. So I don't know that San Diego State's the play I'd make right now if I were the commissioner.
Well, the play wasn't in Qualcomm Stadium anymore because they tore that thing down. A lot of great memories, but that place was a dump, including your 59-21 win in 2001. Brandon, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right, guys. All the best. Take care.